For years, residents have been calling on government to enforce stiffer penalties on persons convicted of gun crimes, and now, with the territory's latest shooting death, those calls have increased. On Monday evening, callers to NDP Radio asked government to review the laws associated with the illegal possession of guns and use of firearms. They also said there should be mandatory jail time for such offenders.
I would like to know when is this government going to sit down behind a table and put civil gun law into place, because we seeing too much crime with guns and things like that. When the time you all going to sit down seriously and try to do something with this serious with guns?
I believe that the persons that the police would hold with the guns would have several guns, not just one or two. So when you take one or two guns from a person, they have more to come. And so I believe that the police should be hosting more of those stop and search, random stop and search, so that they can get more of the guns off the street. And when they get the guns off the street, when they take the guns from them, it shouldn't be just a fine. I believe that there should be a jail sentence. So we have to pass some legislation to get rid of those kind of people having those guns in the first place, knowing that once they found the gun, they're going to serve some time. I believe that would deter them from having the guns in the first place.
Responding to the callers, Premier Orlando Smith said his government is concerned with the number of illegal guns in the territory, and stemming the flow of these firearms is difficult, but it must be done.
As a government, we're extremely concerned at the number of illegal weapons in the country. And there seems to be a difficulty to stemming the flow. But it's something that we must do. I recall that during the last administration, we recommended increase in penalties, quite severe increase in penalties. But before we increased those penalties, we had an amnesty period where we asked people to bring in their weapons so that they won't get these severe fines. But despite that, there still seems to be this number of illegal weapons out there. It is a great concern for us because it is doing more harm to us as a people and as a country. And so therefore we now have to look at other ways of preventing the use of particular illegal guns and their use in criminal conduct. And we have to seriously consider the idea of mandatory sentences and even higher sentences.
One caller also raised the issue of toy guns being sold at events, stating that he was disappointed when his child came home with one such toy after attending a school function. The caller said that toys like video games encourage children to eventually use a real gun.
I was a little disappointed over the last weekend with the sports activities in Rotown with the schools. My 6-year-old son went to attend that session. When he came back home, he had a toy gun that he bought at that function for $10. I was a little bit, I was really disappointed to see that kind of material being sold at a function like that. However, I'm not blaming the government as some people think. I'm just asking that we pay particular attention to these conditioning factors now, only, and I should interject something into these programs. And another thing that I noticed, these computer games that are being sold. I have seen a computer game marketed that's showing you how to operate and fire machine guns, handguns, and what have you. And these people selling these games without compassion for our children. And I think that this is one area that we should look at as a matter only means of eradicating this gun education thing.
Minister for Communication and Works Mark Vanterpool responded to the caller. He said parents should control the purchasing of such materials, and the sale of those types of toys should not be encouraged at school events. Mention was also made of legislation to regulate what is allowed to be sold as toys in the territory.